And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Belvera LinkedIn Live. This week, we are talking about the Belvera Travel Map. What, why, and how to be on it, which is something I've been asked many times and also have been subsequently asked since this live was announced. So I'm going to interview our managing director, Roman Townsend. Welcome, Roman. How are you today?
Hi, everybody. Hey to the viewers at home. Thanks for tuning in.
We're all cozy today because actually, as we've been joking around, Barcelona is freezing inside and boiling outside. So here we are coming from our cold homes.
It's a sunny day outside. I'm going to check the weather. My guess is it'll be 15 degrees, and in my house it is freezing. I'm wearing 3 layers of stuff. I've got the heating on, and at one point I even had the fan heating. Yeah, it's 14 degrees and sunny. I mean, if I went for a walk in this weather like this now, I'd be sweating, you know.
Same in Barcelona. You're on Mallorca, so same in Barcelona. My hands are freezing. I need to go outside to warm up. Go figure. I don't know. Anyway, today we're talking about the Belvera map because this is a very iconic piece of content that you started when? So when did this actually start and how?
Okay, so I mean, how long have we got? Are we doing this for half an hour or something, or?
Well, yeah, the short version, so people can get the point.
The short version. Okay, so people can see, in case you've not ever seen it, you know, here's an actual version of it that we've had printed up. We could talk about that a bit later. The map idea came to me initially. So I don't know if anyone out there are art lovers, but there's something called the Bear, which is a painting work of art that's in, I think, the Tate Modern in London, and it's like the London tube map, and it has lines for football players, artists, film stars, I don't know, whatever, and it's a work of art. And lots of people over the years have copied that concept to do it for different sectors, or for music, or for films, or whatever. So I don't know, you could make one with detective movies and horror movies, and different lines. And I've seen people use it for business. I can't remember I saw it. I think I saw it maybe a finance one. So I first had that idea probably about 20 years ago. Oh, we should do this, when I was working in a PR agency in London, and it never transpired. In fact, we did something else that was equally cool. And then I had the idea again when I worked at Hotel Beds. Gareth, if you're watching, and Danny, I like this idea, but you guys had some objections to it, so it could have been yours. And then when I started the business, Belvera 5 years ago, I was in charge and I wanted to do it.
I love it. I mean, I know it's been very popular as well when you go to events, giving out those physical maps is just a great reminder. And just so everybody knows, so it's a tube map, and each of the lines are a different part of the Traveltech ecosystem. And it is such a complex ecosystem. So how would somebody use that map to navigate our world?
Okay, so as you say, it's just focused on the travel tech space, and there are 10 or 12 different lines, and the lines have been broken down into the types of verticals that if you work in one of these things you would recognize. So we've got hotel distribution sales, which is the green one that goes left to right. We've got a line for media things. So there's a line for awards. There's one for journalists. There's one for power figures. One for lobby groups, stuff like that. And then we've also got them broken down by the types of verticals. So aviation, cruise, consortia, that kind of thing. Over the years, we've evolved it a bit to sort of change the names of the lines a bit, but and there's a line for investors as well. So how should people use this? Well, I've seen people using it in different ways. A guy came up to me once at an event and said, thanks for doing that. I lost my job and I took your map and I printed it out or something. And every day I went through, a selection of companies to find a potential employer. And now I've got a job. I found an employer. It was fantastic. We complete stranger and we hugged. It was really nice. I equally saw some guys who used it for their new joiners in their company. So they got someone in their team to download it and print it on a bigger scale. And they showed me on a Zoom call. They showed me a picture of it on the wall, huge, like 2 meters by 2 meters or something. And they said when people join the company, they use that to introduce them to the sector. And I've been approached on several occasions by like academics and schools and university travel and tourism courses saying, can we use this as part of our materials? And obviously our answer is yes, as long as you credit, Belvera.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, it's got a lot of dark metrics that we can't exactly measure, but it's being used in lots of different areas of our industry. So
very much so, yeah.
Yeah, how did you, I mean, putting this together, obviously, do you know more or less how many brands are on there at the moment?
That's a good question. I think at one point we counted it as about 500 stops. I'm guessing it might be a bit more than that now. Not all of them are strictly brands, or what do you consider a brand? Is a Focuswire or a Skift or Travolution, are they a brand, or I don't know? I suppose they are. There's business schools on there, and there's individuals as well. There's the Power Players line, and then there's journalists as well. I suppose they're not really brands, are they? But stops is 500 and something.
Amazing. And when you first put it together, what was that work like? Like, how did you go about it?
So it was a lot of work to do initially, because trying to sort of map it all out and work out, visually how you would do that. And the suggestion from the designer I worked with, who was Danny, shout out to Danny, was to just use a PowerPoint. I think that's what he said. So just use a PowerPoint and just draw a rough line, and then work it out from there. And also in particular to work out what your lines are going to be. So I had to conceptually think what the lines would be, and what the stops would be on that. And that was quite a lot of work, because some of it was in my head, some of it I had to go around and consult with people from other verticals where maybe I didn't know as much. Cruise, don't know much about that, so I had someone look at that, for example. But then visually trying to put it together, to think how they would all work as a tube sort of network, and in particular the crossover stations, that took a lot of work. Trying to think, okay, where would one line cross the other, and who would be the people who would be the crossover stops? If you look in all cases, I think, where the two lines touch, there's a crossover stop, and the person or brand or organization or whatever we put on there is always someone or something that bestrides both those areas. So there's nothing random about it.
I actually didn't know that. That's a new fact for me, that the crossovers are also significant. So I'm gonna have another look and see who those players are. That's really interesting.
Let's find an example here. Yeah. So we've got Focusrite Americas. So for the events line, it crosses over with the investor line, because it's a very important place to attend if you want to raise finance or you are an investor. The World Aviation Festival crosses over with the aviation line on the events and aviation line. There's a business journalist who's on the business line and on the journalist line where it crosses over. So yes, we could just go on. Yeah,
that's brilliant. We've got somebody saying, Bahadur saying, sorry, Sarin saying, oh, it's going. Sarin saying,
we got people live. All right.
How does one get hold of this? Yeah, forget there are actually people out there. It's not just us in the Zoom call. How does one get hold of this map? So you can find it on the Belvera Partners website. You'll find it under resources, and I'll also link it in this live afterwards, so everybody can get their hands on it. It's free. You just download it, and it's updated regularly. So how do you decide if somebody is?
Or if you see us in person, we give them out. So we've that map I'm showing you there, we had 5,000 of those printed a couple of years ago, and we're just coming to the end of the box now. So whenever we go, we're running events, or we go to events, we often give them out. One year at ITB, we gave out, I don't know, 1,000 or something. We had a person literally distributing them, and people were paying attention, because there was at least one person who emailed me off the back of it saying, I got your map and I want to talk to you. So it works.
Amazing. So I know that it is updated annually, more or less. How do you decide who gets to have that prime place on the map?
Well, we update it slightly more regularly than that. Okay, occasionally, if we see egregious areas, we'll right away go in and update it. But generally speaking, it's every sort of 3, 4, 5 months. We'll be like, okay, let's do an overhaul of it. Along the way, what's happened is someone might send an email saying, well, that brand has merged with that company, or a suggestion for something we've missed, and we take note. And then the next time we're doing a review of it, then we throw all those ideas in and we consider them. But generally speaking, the way we do it is as a team, or if it's a particular area where we want to bring in an expert or something like that, we consult with people. But it's a team thing, and the criteria are, just because someone provides cruise tech services or is a provider of tech for consortia or something like that, doesn't mean you automatically qualify to get on there. The ecosystem of companies in the travel tech space is more than 500 different stops. It's probably 10 or more thousand. So we can't have everyone on there. How are we deciding that? If you're a mega player, if someone comes along and says, we provide tech to DMCs and we have 3,000 staff and we have a turnover of 5 billion or something, then we put them on there right away. But when someone comes along and says we've got 10 staff and we turn over 500,000, that doesn't necessarily mean you make it on there. For the smaller companies that make it onto there, it has to be where they're really moving and shaking. So if you see them speaking at conferences, if you see them being quoted in the media, if they've had a big fundraising, if they're really doing something that makes some buzz about them, then we'll put them on there. Being on the map, in sort of social terms, means that you've got credibility and in any world,
Absolutely, I love that, and I have been asked a couple of times, how do we get on the map? So there you have it. You have to, be making some waves or have significant funding or something that kind of merits being in that top 500, because it is a complex ecosystem and there's a lot of new companies every day. So have to be selective.
And by all means, reach out to us. We're open to suggestions, but you've got to sort of make the case. What is it you're doing that's really credible? But the only ones that are just like straight in is when there's just huge. And every now and again, we do come across companies that are that big. 500-600 staff, turnover in the hundreds of millions. And hadn't heard of you, but you're right. You should be on the map. Wouldn't be fair to mention your space without making some reference to you in the context of the top 20 or 30 companies.
Sure. And in terms of anecdotes or anything that you've found along the way as you've been building this, or you've been showing it to people, can you give us any little anecdotes?
Well, it's a complex and evolving ecosystem. There have been people, unfortunately, passed away, so they've been taken off the map. There have been there's a case of someone who went to jail and was universally despised, and so they were taken off there. So stuff like that. Other anecdotes. Certainly when we launched it, there was a flurry of interest in it. Just one LinkedIn post and our website got like 2,000-3,000 hits in one day. Our website normally gets, I don't know, you tell me, Zoe, you're probably closer to this, but my guess would be 10 hits a day or something like that, because, why would it? But yeah, thousands of hits. So it was immediate, immediately we knew we were onto something. A lot of people approaching us saying we want to be on the map. One person, their lawyer, contacted us asking why they weren't on the map and wanted to know the official legal procedure and how we'd come to that conclusion, and not threatening suing, but being pretty legalistic about it. I was like, okay, we put them on the map. So that's one way to get on there. Get your lawyers to threaten us, and we'll fold. Other anecdotes. A lot of people, want to be on there. Occasionally, I'll often walk up to a group of people at conferences and say, I've got this map to give you, and hand it out. And if you hand out 4 or 5, normally one person will open it enough to the conversation to start, and then the others start opening it because they become curious. But occasionally, people, understandably, can be skeptical because they're always being handed literature that you don't really want or whatever. And so people. One person said to me, I'm from London. I don't need a tube map. Thank you very much. I said, no, have a closer look. Or the other one, and I think it's something when we get the new design we can do, is you open it up on one side, it's just a big picture of an airplane or something, and people look at it and go, what?
Thanks for the poster. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the poster, yeah. So there's an element of that. But by and large, it works really well as an icebreaker. So say in a group, there'll always be someone that opens it, looks at it, and then it gets the conversation going. Why do you do it? What is it? And from us as a business development tool, pretty much most of those conversations at least end with what is it your company does. And I get the feeling we could then say we're a law firm, or we're an IT consultancy, or we're anything that's associated with travel tech, and people would immediately see us as being credible. So I wouldn't recommend anyone to do this in the travel space, because obviously, we know we've now got this idea, and you look like you're copying us. But if you have friends or family, or people running businesses in other areas, I would encourage them to do it, because it's a great way to promote your brand in a completely neutral, non-pushy, non-salesy way.
Absolutely. It's about being memorable, isn't it? And like you say, starting those conversations. And as soon as somebody starts to activate their brain and then knows your brand, you've done a great job, because you've planted those seeds of memorability. And I think this definitely does that. And in the comments, we've got some people saying, Raquel Garcia Corby saying, bring the map to Fitur next week, please, Roman. So
I've just got a big pile in the corner. I've got a good sort of 100 or so I'll bring next week. So if you come up to me, we'll have some.
Yeah, so just 100, guys. The first come, first serve.
And beware, so that version there is a little bit out of date, because obviously we can't just print them up all the time. What we have is the online version is the most up-to-date version. We are going to get some new ones done soon. Believe it or not, those are incredibly expensive to print. They're about €1 a go. And that is because, and it takes forever to get them printed. And that is because there's one company in the world that holds the copyright to printing maps like that fold up and have a hard cover. And they're the company that does, if you go to Disneyland or whatever, they're the ones doing those. The next ones we're going to get, it's going to cost us about 10 grand to do them, but we're going to get big ones like that kind of size, and we're going to have about 10,000 printed. So watch out for that later this year.
Well, there's a fun fact that there's only one company that has a monopoly in the world for those maps. Okay.
Owns the copyright. And when we spoke with a lot of other printers, they sort of said, we could do that for you, but it would be so much work. It wouldn't be cost effective for anyone, because the machines that fold things, it gets quite expensive when you print stuff. But it's the hard cover and all the rest of it. No, it's a good quality little piece of merch, little piece of marketing merch, and I think it's fantastic. So anyone going to Fitur, you're going to be lucky to get one, because I'm not sure when we're going to print the next batch out, but. Somebody else says the map is amazing. It gives an incredible view about the market. It should be included in many trainings. Iñigo Valenzuela, thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's incredible that that's actually being used for onboardings. I mean, it is a complex ecosystem, and to get that first, okay, that goes there, I think it's actually a great tool. I think we're kind of unique in that sense, because most and there are people. We're not the only people even within the travel tech space to produce these maps. There's some several companies that have done them for different ecosystems. I think there's one for short-term rental. Often they're not done as a tube line. They're done more as a kind of random scattergraph or whatever. But there's people who produce similar kind of materials. But we're the only ones that I'm aware of that have the overview of the whole of the travel tech space. That's obviously because we cover the whole of the travel tech space as a business, and so we like to stress that. But I find it always, curious and a bit annoying, frustrating that most people in the travel industry or travel tech industry see themselves as just hospitality tech. Aviation tech, that's something different. People in aviation tech, we're just aviation tech. Tours and activities tech, something else. Even within hospitality tech, the whole short-term rental tech thing is almost completely unrelated to the normal kind of PMSs that hotels use. I think it's a shame that people can't sort of take a step back and see that we're all one ecosystem. And often a lot of these platforms do need to talk to each other. The GDS platforms do have hospitality and hotel data in them. They all link on payment systems. Blah, blah, blah. And maybe if people were more open-minded and looked at the bigger picture, then they would think about solutions that do integrate better with other tech. I think certainly as travelers, we'd all benefit from that. It's very annoying as a traveler to book everything with one agent or whatever, and then you got to check in for the hotel, the airline, then you get to the hotel and you got to check in, and then you've got to transfer and you got to check in. Then you go to the restaurant in the hotel and they want to take your telephone number. Everyone wants all your details again and again and again, or it's separate payment points. Very, very fragmented and frustrating, and that all stems from people not taking a step back and seeing it all as being one ecosystem, one experience.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, creating a better guest experience, a unified guest experience, and getting data to talk to each other on different platforms is probably the issue that I'm talking about with my clients every single day. So it's something we're trying to solve in hospitality and travel technology, but we're not there yet. And I think, to your point about, we should learn from different areas of this super rich travel and hospitality ecosystem, because I do both. You guys are more me with the Belvera hat on, and you guys are just travel technology. But we were saying hospitality, we need to be more like airlines. Hotels need to be more like airlines. And then you ask people, when's the last time you went to an aviation conference? Or when's the last time you had a look in the travel scene? And most people don't, right? And it's not like saying, let's go over to the finance or something completely, hospitals. We're talking about adjacent travel technology scene, which we've got a lot to learn from, and vice versa. So I love this idea of connecting, and maybe we could get one with hospitality tech. No. Maybe I'll do that, Roman, and we can work together on it, because I'd love to see hospitality and travel tech come a bit closer. But yeah, we've got some other comments here. So let me just see. Emily Edwards is asking, do you inform people and companies when they're on, or do they have to check? That's a great question.
Yeah, there's a good question. Actually, no one's ever asked that. No, we don't inform people. It would just be too difficult. And there's no way to search the map. I mean, I think you can use AI tools now to do that, I suppose, but we don't have a sort of search function on it. So you just got to keep an eye out. I mean, if you want to drop me an email and ask if you're on there, then I should know the answer, but I can't remember all the stops,
Check it out. Go to Belvera Partners, download it, put it into ChatGPT, type your name and see if it's on there. So no, we don't. Okay, that's good to know. We've got another comment from Michael Carter: dying to get on it, but dying to get off. Not sure what that means, but anyway, maybe you could put more.
Dying to get on it and dying to get off.
Not sure what that means, or maybe he doesn't want to be on it in the end. Haha, he says. So I'm not sure. But yeah, it's definitely something that once you're on it, it's quite a claim to fame. So. Any final thoughts, Roman, that you think we haven't covered today about the Belvera B2B Travel Tech Map?
I think that's it, really. Starting with that concept of, the big bear, and it'll be fun to do, and then it's become an actual kind of resource. And so, I'm hugely proud of it, and the great work the team does to, maintain and update that. For me, the day I die, it might be one of the things put on my gravestone, creator of the Belvera map.
Certainly many other things, but yeah.
Many other things, yeah, I'm sure, Parva, all that other stuff. But I think it's my sort of little claim to fame, and it's something I hope that will outlast me. But joking aside, if people want to reach out to us and suggest things, we certainly welcome people give suggestions that aren't about putting themselves or their own business. Regularly people do reach out and say, that company ceased trading or merged with another company, or you haven't got the brand name right. Occasionally, people, the upper lowercase, or brand changes or whatever, and we've not got it up to date. So do reach out with those kind of things. We're always open to doing that. Yeah.
Well, I think as your legacy, it's pretty iconic, Roman, and the fact that other people are using it in their own ways that weren't necessarily the intended use. I think that's when you're onto something that's really special. So it's been fantastic talking to you about it. I've learned stuff. I hope everybody else has learned stuff about the map. I've seen lots of comments. Oh, Michael's come back saying it was about Roman's previous comment about having had to remove people who died. Okay, got it. We got their dying. Okay, that's a very sad.
Actually, right. Okay, yeah, dying to get on there, dying to get off.
Yeah, you don't have to die to get off it. You can just ask us if you don't want to be on it.
Yeah, I think we would. Yeah, I think if someone asked us to remove them, I suppose we would remove them. We'd be respectful. But no, we've not had anyone ask that before.
No. Why would they?
Yeah, not about themselves anyway. I think we've had people ask us to take the competitors off or something like that.
Oh,
But
there's some tea there. We can talk offline about that. I need to know who that was.
yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Well, I think Vera actually already has dropped the link to the map in the LinkedIn chat. So thank you very much, Vera. And yeah, we will be at an event near you sometime giving out these maps. So talk about it, use it, read it, put it on your wall.
Well, thanks guys for tuning in and for all your questions, and for but most of all for people, just engaging with the map over the years. The contributions we get from people in terms of feedback is valuable, and the enthusiasm and interest with it is definitely what kept it going. Otherwise, it'd have been a gimmick. It'd have been a one-off thing. Great, we've got that somewhere. Whereas now, every event we go to, whatever we're doing, meetings, we're always like, look at the map, because we can see that people really genuinely like it. And if in my lifetime I could find another thing like that I could create that would get as much engagement, then I'd be super proud of that. Don't think I will.
It's fantastic. Hats off.
All right.
Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, Roman, and see you next time.
Bye-bye from a cold Mallorca. Bye-bye.
Bye.